Hi everyone, my name is Rachel and welcome to the French Seams. So this video is all about what I made in November and December 2025. So they're all kind of festive makes, which I just love. So November definitely was a bumper month because I had a fantastic sewing retreat where I got a good bit sewn up, which was just an utter joy and a luxury. And then of course you'll have seen my bits and bobs during Vlogmas during December, and then of course over the Christmas holidays as well. So I do love making these makes videos. If you watch my Friday sews regularly, then you'll have seen most of them, but I just love having them all in one vlog at the end of a month so I can just file them away and refer to them in future. So I do have a playlist of all my makes over my channel as well. I'll link it down below, and those makes vlogs go back to 2021. So without further ado, shall we get started, because there's an awful lot here to get through, so grab a cuppa and settle in. So shall we start with dresses? I think we shall. So I will start with my Christmas Day dress, and this is the fantastic dress that I made. It's in this beautiful fabric from Higgs & Higgs. This amazingly soft snow leopardy fabric. It's actually reversible, so it's a beautiful black on the back as well. I just decided to go with the white. I got this at the recent Knit and Stitch festival up in Belfast before Christmas, and when I saw it I knew it was destined to be the Kajo dress from Named Patterns. So I had seen the Kajo dress being released a number of months ago, and I really wanted to give it a go and thought it would be perfect as a Christmas dress, and then I thought this fabric would just be the perfect match, and I was delighted with how it came out. So it's a very interesting construction. It's got a wrap over front and back. It looks quite low here on the hanger. It doesn't come down that low at all. Then on the back it's got this little strap to basically keep the shoulders up. I put in this fantastic Sarah Hart's handmade label that my fantastic friends Sam and Catherine gave me in my advent calendar, and then it's got these amazing batwing sleeves, and then it just has the waistline attached to the skirt here, and then a very long skirt. So it's quite a pencil style skirt, and then you tie it at the waist then with a belt, which is separate. It's not tied into the dress at all. So I really enjoyed making this. It came together very quickly once you get your head around the batwing sleeves in the front and back, and I really enjoyed it. So sizing wise, I made the size true to my measurements, which I'll drop down below. I thought I would have to add in length to the bodice. Named Patterns are drafted for 5'8", I'm 5'9", so I thought it might be okay. I could add maybe a centimetre to the bodice length, but I think it was fine because the weight of the skirt does actually pull it down. The skirt is very long. It comes down almost to my ankles, but it gives a kind of dramatic look, which I really like. So very happy with this and loved wearing this at Christmas. The fabric is just so super soft and gorgeous. It's really nice, and it's definitely a style that I don't usually wear, and I was very happy that I gave it a go. So that was one of my first dresses. The next dress, I'm just going to pile everything here and sort it out later. The next ones are 3 dresses, and they're all the same pattern. So yes, I made 3 Davenport dresses in November, December and January. I made the first Davenport back in 2021. I'll see, can I pop in a picture here? It was just when things opened up and I went back into the office, and I thought I definitely need a new dress for that, and it was in this incredible safari print viscose that I got from Andrea Beyond the Pink Door, and I remembered really loving that dress. And then fast forward 4 years and I decided to make another one, and I wanted to make a Davenport dress to go to the Knit and Stitch, the aforementioned Knit and Stitch that I just mentioned, and I thought this dress would be perfect. So this fabric I had bought last spring, I think, from Dreesenstoffen, and it's this beautiful petrol kind of geometric shape viscose. Apologies, had to sneeze. This beautiful viscose that I got from Dreesenstoffen, and I think it's a really pretty colour. Initially I was going to make a jumpsuit out of this, but then the summer disappeared and I decided it should be a Davenport dress instead, and I'm so delighted with that choice. So it's got the beautiful gathered neckline here with elastic, and then it's got these beautiful frills at the shoulders. Very tricky to show you in this fabric. It does have little yoke pieces here as well. Then full length sleeves with lovely cuff with elastic on as well. And then the waist here is gathered with a drawstring, and it has lovely pockets as well. So with the Davenport, I don't put the Davenport skirt. The skirt is kind of a short panel, and then it has a gathered tier at the end. I prefer to put on the Tilly and the Buttons Lotta skirt, and when you line up the front and back skirts of the Lotta and the Davenport, they match almost perfectly at the waist. So I just grade them out to make them more kind of A-line. So it's the Lotta skirt, which comes up quite midi on me, but I do like that. So delighted with this dress, and I was able to wear that to the Knit and Stitch, which was great. Then at the Knit and Stitch, I found this beautiful fabric from Rainbow Fabrics. And for rainbow fabrics, I can give you 20% off. Use my code Rachel !VIP. You get 20% off, and that is an affiliate link. Thank you very much. But when I was at the show, they had this fabric on the stand and I just fell in love with it. It's beautiful, kind of tartan. It's a viscose twill, I think, with a navy background and these beautiful lurex threads, which aren't one bit scratchy. I was concerned about the lurex on the inside of the yoke. Not a problem. It doesn't scratch at all. So you can see better here the lovely gathered neckline, and you can see the lovely yoke pieces here, the frill, and then again the sleeves and the cuffs, everything identical to the previous version. But I really love this, and I think it almost has a kind of Christmas festive nod, I think. So loved making this. And of course I made this at the sewing retreat I went to a few weeks later, and having made one about the week before, I whizzed through this super quickly. It's a fantastic pattern, so love this version of the Davenport. Then Davenport number 3. So while I was watching Vlogmas, I was watching the fantastic Teresa, Lost My Thread. I'll link her channel down below. And she had got this fabric in the Fabric Godmother Advent box. And I was an incredibly cheeky pup. And I said, because you're not keen on it, I will gladly take it off your hands. And because she is the kind soul that she was, she very kindly gave me this fabric. So Teresa, thank you so much. And as soon as it arrived, it was in the wash. And then I wanted to make it as a New Year's Eve dress. And I just love it. So I ended up wearing this on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, and it's called Champagne Chic on the Fabric Godmother website, and it was just destined to be a Davenport. It really was. So you can see here the beautiful print, the champagne coupes, the bows, the ribbons, the olives. I just love it. I think there's a few disco balls in there too. And I love that I managed to get a bow here on the yoke and then 2 champagne glasses centre front. I could pretend that was on purpose. That was entirely accidental. So here, the beautiful gathered neckline, the yoke, the frill, the sleeves, the gathered waist, the works. On this one, because I was doing it on a sewing social over Christmas, it's got this fantastic Made to Sparkle label, because I was on my fantastic friend Sam Sola Sparkle's sewing social when I was making it, alongside the little pear Cozy Club handmade label, which says pressed to perfection. That was in Adam Sew's advent calendar that I got for Christmas. And then also the other label is actually a Fabric Godmother label that Teresa threw in, and it says made to party. So I threw every advent, every Christmas, every New Year thing at this dress that I could. This fabric was a little bit shorter than the others, so this is just kind of about knee length on me, but I actually really like it. So I was able to wear it, as always, I always do, with my favourite brown boots, and I think it looks lovely. And I wore this on New Year's Day, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, and it's going to definitely be my party dress from now on. I just love it, so thank you, and it is very special. So 3 Davenport dresses. Love that pattern. I could say I'm not going to make more. I absolutely am going to make more as soon as I find the perfect fabric. So shall we move on to a few accessories? So I made 2 little things, and the one being very little, and it is this. And it is an AirPod case, because I knew I wanted to make a few for Christmas. So it's a fantastic pattern. I'll link it down below. And it's basically a little square. You box out the bottom, and then it's got this genius little gap at the bottom, so you can still charge it, which is fantastic. It's got this little lanyard, because I am always losing my AirPods. And then it's got the little snap opening, and you can see then my AirPods are inside. It's just perfect. I love this, and I think it's so handy. So you can hang it in your handbag, or push it in your keys, push it on a bag, whatever. I think it's absolutely brilliant. So I'll link that pattern down below. I made one of those for my mum for Christmas. So I just have the regular AirPods, and she has the AirPod Pros, but the pattern comes in 2 sizes, so it worked out perfectly. Next up is probably, and you'll be bored of hearing about this if you watch my channel regularly, probably one of my favourite makes, and that is my Takisha bag. And here it is. And this is a bag that I made on the sewing retreat, and I had set aside a whole day to make this, and I loved every second of it. This is by Cara Threads. I'd made a Cara Threads bag before with my fantastic friend Orla, and Orla now has a bag making fabric shop, and it is called So What. I'll link it down below. Fantastic. So she very kindly gifted me this fabric to try out, and it is the Posh Imposter range, the weight of it, and the colour is brown bread, which is hilarious. And this is the outside. So you've got the little spinning thing here, which I'd never used before, which I loved doing. All my hardware is from the little sewing tree, the lovely Sarah, and it matches perfectly. For this little thing, I'd never done it before, and I was reading the instructions, and it was telling to cut a little piece out of the fabric. Didn't know what to do. The fantastic Mandy, Make It So, over on YouTube, I'll link her down below. She had a little craft tool on the retreat, which I was able to use to make the little hole to do the spinny thing anything, which was just fantastic. So that's the front. You've got a little, we call it a padlock. Then you open it up, that's fully lined here. On the back, you've got another zip pocket here that's fully lined. Then you've got your lovely handle. Then this is a beautiful zip, and it's a little recessed zip on the inside, which is lovely. On one side, you've got two little slip pockets here, and they're kind of bound in the faux leather as well. And then on this side, you've got a little welt pocket, and it has a little zip overlay, which is lovely. And so this zip, there's another lined pocket in here, and then Crafted in Chaos little label at the bottom, which is just fantastic. So absolutely delighted with this bag. It's a quite involved make. Obviously the cutting out of all the pattern pieces does take a lot of time. It's amazing because the lining that I use, the bonded nylon, you don't need to interface, which saves a whole host of time. But it did take a couple of hours to cut out everything, and then probably a full day to make it, but I just loved every second. The instructions on Cara threads is just brilliant, and I have plans to make another for bags as well. So absolutely delighted with this make, can you tell? So what's my next category? Knitting. Shall we have a little knitting conversation? So very quickly, I had an advent cast on with a few lovely ladies over on Instagram, where we all cast on a pair of Christmas socks at the end of November, ready to wear on Christmas Day. And it was a little bit challenging, but I really wanted to do it. The beauty of the pattern that I follow is I do toe up. So as I was getting closer to Christmas, I could just gauge how long I wanted my socks to be, which is great. But I finished these on Christmas Eve and wore them Christmas Day and was absolutely delighted. After Christmas dinner, I put on my cozy socks and tucked up next to the fire, and it was lovely. So these are my beautiful socks. The yarn is West Yorkshire Spinners, and it's in their colourway Mulled Wine, which is their Christmas yarn from last year. It has beautiful gold flecks in it, which are one bit scratchy. I just did a standard stockinette stitch because I knew speed was of the essence. I just did a 3x1 rib. The heel I use is called the Fish Lips Kiss heel, and it's a pattern from Ravelry. And then I just do knit front and back for my toe, and I think it works out really nice, and I'm delighted with these, and they are super cozy. So I was really happy with my Christmas socks. PJs. So I made a pair of PJs for my two little boys over Vlogmas, and it's a new pattern. New to me, I should say, relatively new. It's by the fantastic Victoria from Little Rosy Cheeks, and she has a pattern out now called the Cadal pajamas, and they're a kids pajama pattern, but they're for woven pajama bottoms, which is fantastic. So I ordinarily make my boys knit pajamas for Christmas, but there's always beautiful cotton prints. So I got these beautiful snow globe cotton prints from Rainbow Fabrics, and I knew they were destined to be their little Christmas pajamas. So each of the boys gets a little top, because the pattern comes with a raglan t-shirt. You can do short or long sleeves, and then the woven bottoms you can do shorts or full length. But if you do full length, the little cuff at the bottom is knit, which is just fantastic. So each of the boys gets a little raglan t-shirt and a little pair of pajamas. So I fussy cut the snow globes to tie in the top. So that's baby French seams ones, and then these are older French seams ones. They're all washed, ironed, and almost ready to put away for next Christmas. I bound the neckline in this beautiful Christmas Specky Seamstress binding. Sort out that loose thread. Binding here, and then they have the beautiful sleep tight labels. Can I find them from Little Rosy Cheeks? Can I find them? Where do they go? Which I also picked up at the Knit and Stitch, which I think match perfectly the little pajamas. They say sleep tight night, which I think are perfect. So very cute pattern. Really happy with them. Little raglan t-shirt and little pajama bottoms. I think they're super cute. So they're going to be put away for next Christmas. So that was lovely to make those over Vlogmas. Next up is a shawl. So I'd never made a shawl before, and it is called the Sleigh Ride shawl, and it is a free pattern. And I was looking at the fantastic website Thread Quarters. Sadly, they are closing down, and I was able to pick up this beautiful wool coating fabric in this amazing pinky purpley colour, and I knew a shawl in this would be perfect. I've been wearing this non-stop over dresses, over jumpers, everything to keep me nice and warm. It's fantastic for layering. So basically it's a huge kind of N shape, I think you'd call it. So this is what it looks like. If I can hold it up properly, this is what it looks like. And then you just wrap it around you, and then it's got these very nifty little tab in it where you can tuck it in. So if I find the tab, it's like a huge blanket. So here's the tab on one side, and I've got my lovely Solar Sparkle Sam label again, and you tuck in one side and you can wrap it around you, and it's just lovely. I'm so happy with it. I really am. I think it's genius. It's basically front to back, sew them together, turn them out. you're done. But it's really, really nice pattern, so I would highly recommend that. So much easier if I pop in a picture of me wearing it. I think that a picture is worth more than 1,000 words, isn't it? So that was my shawl. I made a skirt. So this was my Christmas Eve skirt, and I picked up this amazing fabric from Stitch Fabrics at the Stitch Festival, and it is just full on sequins and it is just magnificent, and I thought it would make a lovely, lovely skirt. I used the Tilly and the Buttons Lotta skirt, but basically I just gathered it into some elastic, and then I put a made to party label because this dress just screams party, doesn't it? I wore it then with just a plain black top, a cowl neck Agnes top from Tilly and the Buttons again, and I loved wearing this. So really, really love this. I think it's so sparkly and so fantastic. I just love it, and this sequin, it drapes beautifully and it was very, very comfortable to wear. So delighted with my little sequin skirt. I think I just did one picture of me wearing this, which I'll pop in here as well. So shall we move on to tops and sweatshirts? And I think we'll start with what I'm wearing. And so this is the Chasing Butterflies top by Pattern Emporium. I love this pattern. I've made, I think, 4 at this stage. So this time I made the crew neck version and I bound the neckline. I'll pop in a picture here, video down below on how you do that. And then I had fabric left over and I thought I'd make a little scarf as well to go over it. This fabric is from Rainbow Fabrics, again, that I picked up at the Knit and Stitch, and I think it would just be perfect for a bat wing top. So huge big bat wing sleeves, and then it's got a hemband then at the waist as well. And I just love this print, and I thought it would be perfect to show this off. I think it's really, really nice. It's kind of got a little bit of a festive vibe, but you can easily get away with it at other times of the year as well, which is why I didn't want to make it too wintry with a big cowl. So love this top. It's a fantastic pattern. I would highly, highly recommend it. Next up is the Monroe turtleneck, and this is a free pattern by Tessuti Patterns, and I was given a little bit of warning when I said I wanted to make this. This had been on my list for a long time. I had never got around to it, and then I did decide to finally make it in this amazing glittery fabric from Dries & Stoffen, and a lot of people warned me against the sizing. So they said be careful of the neck, that it comes up quite tight, and that the sleeves come up quite tight as well. So I definitely took that on board. I measured the neck before I sewed it in. That was okay because of the stretch. I do definitely agree that the sleeves are very, very narrow. I think I added about 2 centimeters to the diameter of the sleeves, and they're quite snug they are, but I think I can just about get away with it. And I did add a bit to the length as well. But I really, really like how it came out. I think it's a really nice kind of wintry make with the sparkle. Again, I've got a sparkle added label, so let's sparkle, and I'm very, very happy with how this came out, and I think it was perfect for over Christmas. So I managed to whiz this up at the retreat as well, so very happy with this. It is a lovely free pattern, but just bear in mind the sizing and maybe measure the pattern pieces before you make it, or just measure the stretch percentage of your fabric for sure. The next one is the high cuff sweater, and I've made this once or twice before, and I just love how it came out. And I found this beautiful Christmas mittens fabric in Paris when I went last April, and it came on a 3-meter roll. So I decided to buy it. I think it was €15 for 3 meters, which isn't bad. And I knew I wanted to make a high cuff sweater, and I knew my lovely friend Katie, whatever Katie sews, would love this fabric as well. So I cut out my my high cuff, which uses less than 1.5 meters, and then I was able to give the rest to Katie, and she made a fantastic dress. She looked amazing in it, and I'm so happy she enjoys it. So this is my high cuff sweater. So it's a woven sweater with bust darts, but then you put on a knit neckband, which I love, and then I've got my Specky Seamstress Christmas binding, and I've got my Sarah Hart's Made at a Retreat label, which I love. Then it's got knit cuffs as well, and then on the back, the pattern does have you cut it in 2. You really don't need to. Cutting in the fold would be absolutely fine. I'm not quite sure why they ask you to cut it in 2, maybe to save fabric. But on the back waistband, it kind of goes up at the back, so it gives a lovely, lovely shape. So it is quite fabric hungry for the ribbing, for the cuffing, but it gives a lovely, lovely shape at the back. So I think I have a picture of me wearing it here, but I just think this print is just too cute. So that's going out for Christmas as well, but I can't wait to get it out again next year. 2 left, folks. We're almost there. Next is another very Christmassy make that I made at the sewing retreat, and it is a Southbank sweater dress. I love this pattern so much. I made one in January last year, and I knew I wanted to make another, and then I found this fabric, I think maybe January or February last year. I found this on Dries & Stoffen. It's kind of a Fair Isle French terry. It doesn't have much stretch, it's quite sturdy, but I knew this would be perfect as a Southbank, so delighted with it. I spent ages cutting this out before the retreat to pattern match, and I think I did quite a good job. So here, if I show you these side seams, open this up. I spent ages trying to pattern match, so there's a side seam, so not bad. So it's got a little kind of mock turtleneck here, and then just lovely long sleeves with a cuff, and then a hemband at the bottom. And the label I used for this was a Cozy Club handmade Naughty Nice I Tried, which I think is adorable. So it's a lovely pattern by Nina Lee. I make a size 10 grading to a size 14, and I do add 1.5 inches to the sleeves, and I add 3 inches to the dress, because my other version I only added 2 inches and it's a little bit short, but it's fine. So love this sweater dress as well, and again this is going away for Christmas and I can't wait to pop it out again next year. Last but by no means least is my Linden sweatshirt, and this fabric is from the amazing girls, the Fabric Obsession, the lovely Becky and Cadal, and they had this incredible sequined fabric and I just fell in love with it. So I just got a meter because I knew I had this crushed black velvet that I wanted to kind of accent with it, and this is the Linden sweatshirt by Greenland Studios. So raglan sleeves, which are very, very conducive to colour blocking. I was able to use the velvet on the cuff as well. And then this beautiful sequined for the front and the back. And I loved wearing this at Christmas. It's a lovely kind of velvet backed sequin. So again, not at all scratchy or irritating. In the advent calendar, the Adam Says advent calendar, he gave us this beautiful binding. So I was able to use that on the inside because I made this during Vlogmas. And then also I was able to use a fantastic label by Sam and Catherine in my advent calendar, and it's little cocktail glasses. So loved making this during Vlogmas, and I wore it quite a bit over Christmas and New Year. I think it's really, really nice. It's a fantastic pattern, the Linden. The Linden is the very, very first knit pattern I made when I first started sewing back in 2017, and I hadn't made it in years, so I was delighted to finally revisit the pattern, and it's as good as always. The neckline is quite wide, I would say, but it's okay for kind of this going out kind of top. But if you were making just a regular sweatshirt and wanted a little bit more coverage, you could just raise the neckline very, very easily. So this is the Linden. So whistle stop tour of November and December. It was a bumper for sure, but you can see now why I wanted to group them into November and December, because they all are quite festive, but I had so much fun sewing up each and every one of them. So thank you very, very much for sticking to the end if you did so. If you have any questions on any of my makes, I would gladly answer them in the comment box below, or if you just want to drop in and say a quick hello and let me know what you're getting up to. Thank you very, very much for watching as always. If you liked this video, I would love it if you give me a thumbs up, and also please consider subscribing. I hope you're all getting some time for some lovely, lovely sewing, and I will catch you all again in a video very, very soon. Take care everyone. Bye.